Picturing quality of life. What is Photovoice? Photovoice is a way to tell a story through pictures. The pictures show what life is like living with a communication disorder. We took pictures of meaningful things in our lives each week and chose our favorites to share with you. Aphasia. This collection of photos was taken and curated by a group of 3 individuals with aphasia and 1 co-survivor. We choose to begin by sharing a little of what aphasia is like. We then go on to celebrate our successes and positivity in the face of challenges. At times, I feel like a prisoner in my own mind and body because of aphasia and my stroke. There are times I say things I don't mean, and sometimes I can't talk at all. I have a proprioception awareness impairment, and sometimes I don't know where the right side of my body is. The Prisoner by Anonymous. Faith and gratitude. The beginning of my journey with aphasia, this photo makes me feel so thankful to God and my family because of how far I've come. Faith and Gratitude by Anonymous. I have been attending Voice of Hope for Aphasia sessions for the past 5 years. It has impacted me by giving me a sense of community and by allowing me to support other individuals with aphasia. It has given me many opportunities, including working with others with aphasia, research, and working with speech-language pathologists. Faith and Gratitude by Trish. This is my church where I go for Sunday service. I feel love for my pastor and my family. I worry about getting better, but I am thankful for the improvements I have made. Faith and Gratitude, Rick Rees. On the go with friends. This is my stroke gym class. We're exercising with walking. These are the weights and blocks we use. I get excited about class. I'm happy to be with friends. On the go with friends by Rick Rees. Having aphasia is like climbing the Rockies with some assistance and time. You will get there. On the go with friends by Anonymous. Once I moved to a new city, I got a dog that helps me advocate for me and helps me meet new people. Taking my dog on walks has helped me socialize with other dog owners in the neighborhood, as it is a friendly environment. Teaching my dog commands has also helped me, and my dog gives me a lot of support. On the go with friends by Trish. Independence. This is my lawnmower that I use to cut the grass by myself. It makes me feel good because I can be independent. Independence by Rick Rees. Success! I bought my home in 2019 and it needed a lot of work. I researched grants that would pay for the repairs. After being turned down 3 times, I found one that provided a new roof, hot water tank, furnace, and updated electricals, and they took down my old deck and built me a new one, all by myself. Independence by Anonymous. I use a carrying strap that allows me to be able to carry boxes more easily. Because of my stroke, I have limited function on my right side, so I use a tool to help me carry things. This has given me a sense of independence and the ability to carry certain items by myself. Independence by Trish. After I was diagnosed with aphasia, I found a great appreciation for technology as a way to communicate. I do not like to speak over the phone because it is harder to communicate, especially with numbers. So I prefer texting, using Siri, and different technology apps to communicate with doctors, friends, and others. Independence by Trish. Looking ahead. Because of the tragedies that happened to me and my family, I was busy trying to stay alive for my children, but I wasn't living my life for myself. Looking Ahead by Anonymous. I have been a board member for my condo complex for the past 1 year. It has given me the opportunity to use my voice to vote and become the contact for clubhouse reservations. Looking Ahead by Trish. I am one of the founders of the National Aphasia Synergy. I found this organization as a revolution with disabled people that advocates for us with meaningful and participatory roles at every level. The National Aphasia Synergy is a peer-led community of people with aphasia driven to educate people with aphasia, empower people with aphasia to use technology for communication skills, develop a national people with aphasia community, and to encourage optimism and a positive outlook. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Looking Ahead by Trish. Life with Traumatic Brain Injury. This collection of photos was curated by 4 individuals who've experienced a traumatic brain injury. We've created a display to showcase what our lives are like living with a traumatic brain injury. The images and captions address topics like isolation, overwhelming feelings, variable emotions, support, neurofatigue, and the path ahead. We hope this collection will give you some insight on our day-to-day experiences. Isolated and overwhelmed. I don't always have people around me who can fully relate to me. Sometimes they don't understand why I can't do certain things. Communication barriers can often lead to me being misunderstood. I don't have the option to feel or not feel this way. Isolation can hurt, but you can grow from it as well. Independence has come from the feeling of isolation. Isolated and Overwhelmed. Isolation by Dakota Renouf.
I often become overwhelmed by bright lights, colors, and competing sounds. These pictures, taken with a filter in an arcade, describe how I feel in an environment that have too many competing lights and sounds. Isolated and Overwhelmed. Visual Vomit by Anonymous. Imagine you're going out to eat and sit down and enjoy a meal for a change. Once seated, you're subject to all the noises and lights of the busy restaurant. You place your order, and once your meal comes, you can never finish it because in the time it took to order your meal and have it arrive, the lights and noises of the restaurant have begun to overwhelm you, give you a headache, and make you nauseous, causing you to be so sick you cannot finish your meal. Makes for a great date. Isolated and Overwhelmed. Bad Dates by Anonymous.
Inconsistent and Erratic Emotions. This photograph allows me to invite other people to see the world how I see the world. The subtlety of change over time is difficult to reflect with words. Looking at me isn't enough to understand my world. You need to take the time to understand the unseen disability in order to understand me. Inconsistent and Erratic Emotions. Things Aren't Always As They Seem by Erin Kennedy.
At the beginning of the brain injury, I felt like I was stuck in a haze and surrounded by brain fog and fatigue. I felt engulfed by the darkness, trapped and unable to escape. As the injury evolved, I began to emerge from this darkness, but the fog and fatigue still followed. Days became better little by little, but as time progresses, I feel like screaming in exasperation. Inconsistent and Erratic Emotions, Emerging from the Dark by Anonymous.
Support. My support system builds me up. They are the foundation to a rehabilitation. Each part matters and strengthens the whole. Each stone is a different person, doctor, or therapist that has helped me build me back up and help me feel normal again. Support. Support by Dakota Renoff. This photograph is part of my vision therapy exercise. This image, though simplistic seeming, took a lot more of work and pain than it appears. This is the result of 2.5 years of vision therapy exercise. I wanted to use this image to explore the color patterns and repetition in the wild. This is also a useful skill for finding birds and other wildlife at 30 yards. Support. Exercise number 40,001 by Erin Kennedy. Commitment comes in many forms for me. Commitment to friends and family. There was no way I could have gotten through my brain injury without their support. I have a commitment to progressing, to therapy, going to the gym, and to getting better. My dog, Berkeley, and I have a commitment to each other. He has been an uplifting spirit, and we enjoy each other's company. He was always looking out for me. We can reach each other's emotions well. He's the reason I met my girlfriend. He wandered into her pool and was playing with her daughter. That led to a new commitment to my girlfriend. I was concerned about finding someone that would understand and relate to me and give me the benefit of the doubt to my brain injury weirdness. Support. Commitment by Kyle Nelson.
My fatigue impacts my life in ways that others may not realize. Balancing my brain injury, my work, and my daily needs can be a challenge. Some days, I do not have enough energy to equal all of these balances. When I am too fatigued to meet my daily needs, I am grateful for those who have lent a helping hand in my life, like my mom, whose orange cranberry muffins are pictured here. Living in another state, she cannot be there on a daily basis, but always sends me on my way with meals that are sure to last a week. Support. A Taste of Home and a Mother's Love by Anonymous.
Neurofatigue. These flowers are all dying. Some are more dead than others. Due to my brain injury, the way I feel fatigue is like the flowers at the bottom, while the way I felt fatigued before my injury is like the flowers at the top. My fatigue changes and evolves day by day. There are different stages of fatigue, and I feel them all. My fatigue has many faces. Neurofatigue. Fatigue at the coffee shop. Dakota Renoff. This shows a little bit of organization or how I was before. If you look at the wall, everything had its place, and then you can see how my organization skills have been affected since my injury when you look at the table and the floor. Sometimes I get frustrated when I can't remember where I put something. I think I am my old self and that I have my old skills. I would have known where I put something, but it's not there. I have to remind myself I have a brain injury and that I am not my old self. Doing work is like Swiss cheese, where some of the puzzle sections are complete. However, some of the pieces are missing. If I have a lot of things that I need to attend to and pay attention to, it's very challenging to complete any tasks that I want to. I often wonder what skills I have that I can take to a future job. Many of my skills before were about high organization. I'm figuring out how I can use my new skills, like being extroverted and going into a job where I can help others while managing neurofatigue and other brain injury-related issues. Neurofatigue, My Life, Kyle Nelson. This is how I get through my day with the help of many alarms. I need these to function or I'm greatly affected. These help with focusing, seizures, headaches, sleep, memory, stomach issues, nerve pain, regulating emotions, and more. Sometimes I miss doses because it can be overwhelming and hard to remember. Neurofatigue, Surviving Survival by Kyle Nelson. This photograph represents a bumpy road to recovery. The worst part of recovery to me is the zombie period, where I feel like I'm just floating. Sometimes I feel out of place and like I'm floating along in an environment I don't know. During these zombie phases, I'm struggling with different aspects of recovery, including the physical and mental struggles. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed when I come to the self-esteem aspects of recovery. Neurofatigue, zombie floating, Erin Kennedy. The path ahead. This is a bridge I built myself after my injury. Before my injury, I was always on a straight path like the beginning part of this bridge, and I did not veer from the path until my brain injury. This is represented by curving in the bridge. It also reminds me of the perseverance in completing tasks. My path isn't always straight, but I will get there. Path ahead, distracted, and perseverance by Kyle Nelson. This photograph is what I see every day when I drive. The vision of impact when I was rear-ended will forever be etched in my mind. This is one of the invisible aspects of my traumatic brain injury that will never leave me. The path ahead, recurring image in the rear view by Erin Kennedy. When I look at fennel, I see and smell joy. These images bring stability and clarity to my thoughts and allow me to tell my story through the direction of the picture. Additionally, I use organic images like this to reflect some of the struggles I have faced with my recovery through the sharp contrasting against the blurry in the background. I use these images to tell my story of recovery and how far I have come. The path ahead, joy, and the smell of fennel by Erin Kennedy. Life's just really tough. To complete a day is an accomplishment. Looking back, I can see how much I have gone through. I remind myself what I have gone through, and like this birdhouse amidst the dead brambles, I still stand. The foliage can be a wall between myself and others. Sometimes I can express my emotions past the wall of confusion, leaving me solitary, but I still stand. The path ahead, Castaway by Dakota Ranoff. Every day feels like a new trail has to be created. I have to go straight through the thicket. Old pathways are ghosts of the past. The path's ahead. The future is straight ahead by Erin Kennedy. The branches represent my body and things that have happened to me. Some pieces are broken, but it's still part of me. Life is going to throw you a lot of challenges, but remain to your core, you will still be standing. I believe everything happens for a reason, and my brain injury happened to me for a reason. It has helped shape me who I am today, a person who I like better than the person I was before. Don't give up on yourself as things seem to fall apart in your life. You are still you despite what has happened. Like this tree is still a tree despite what it has endured. The path ahead, still standing by Kyle Nelson.
Photos by Anonymous, Dakota Renault, Kyle Nelson, Erin Kennedy, Rick Reese, Trish. Other support by faculty and students at Nova Southwestern University, Speech Language Pathology, Jackie Hinckley, PhD, CC-SLP, JH988 at nova.edu. Central Michigan University, Communication Science and Disorders, Katie Strong, PhD, CCC-SLP, STRON4KA at cmich.edu. University of Wyoming, Communication Disorders, Erin Bush, PhD, CCC-SLP, EBUSH1 at uwyo.edu.